Welcome, everyone. Thank you for being here at the Art Museum. This is one of my favorite places to host our weekly press conferences, frankly, because it gets me out of the office, but also we get to see some of the new exhibits that we often have here at our Wichita Art Museum. So one of those exhibits is we're talking about today, which is the B.J.O. Nordfeldt exhibit. Nordfeldt was a regular in the Wichita art scene back in the 1930s. And the exhibit opens this Saturday, September 25th, and runs through January 6th. It's entitled the B.J.O. Nordfeldt. Let's try that one more time. B.J.O. Nordfeldt American Internationalist exhibit. And here to tell us more is Dr. Patricia McDonald. Just very careful with this.
Always wonderful to have the mayor back at the Wichita Art Museum. I'm going to pull this up just a little bit. Yeah, and we have a number of other guests at your news briefing this morning, colleagues from the symphony and the baseball team in town. It's busy in Wichita, and at the Art Museum, we don't let a global pandemic slow us down very much. We're opening the B.J.O. Nordfeldt exhibition that very proud for us to bring this show to Wichita. It's a major loan show, and its first stop on the tour around the country is here in Wichita. So there are loans from the Metropolitan Museum of Art New York and the Smithsonian's Hirshhorn Museum and the University of Minnesota's Art Museum, and lots of private collections from around the country. As a matter of fact, our own USD 259, the Wichita Public School District, owns a painting by Nordfeldt that was selected for the exhibition. So let me tell you kind of why that would have happened. This is an artist who was very esteemed during his lifetime. When he passed away, no less than the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York staged a memorial exhibition for him. But other museums like the Whitney Museum in New York, the Corcoran Gallery in Washington, D.C., the Art Institute of Chicago also presented his one-person exhibitions across his lifetime. So it's really wonderful that again, a scholarly project has brought together major loans. There's 65 really glorious paintings that we're presenting as part of the show. As the director of the Art Museum, I would say there are three main reasons why I consider it important that we brought the show to Wichita. This artist was here in Wichita in the 20s and 30s, as the mayor noted. At that time, he was living in Santa Fe. Many Wichitans now, as then, spent time in the cooler climate in Santa Fe in the summer, and artists in particular, and Nordfeldt, when he was there, came to know a nice number of Wichitans who lured him back to town. He came for extended stays. He even taught at the Wichita Art Association, that is now Mark Arts here in Wichita, so that he was here for such an extended period of times. Actually, someone purchased a work and ultimately gave it to our school system, and that painting is now housed here at the Art Museum, and it'll be included in the show. Originally Swedish, born in Sweden, immigrated to Chicago before the turn of the century, lived many different places around the world and around the country. But we wanted to bring his work back for new generations of people to come to know this particular artist. So he had roots here. That's important. Major artist, first scholarly, retrospective look at this artist. So that would be my second reason why I think it's important to bring the show here. And the third is they're just stunningly beautiful paintings that I think people are really going to love. So we're proud that we're the first stop on this national tour here in Wichita. I think the general public is going to love the paintings, and we'll have the show all through the fall. So if you miss it in early months, come over the winter break, over the holiday break. We have it through early January. So thank you again for bringing your news briefing here to the Wichita Art Museum. We really appreciate it.
Of course. And thank you for everything that you do to bring in these incredible attractions here to Wichita, and we're happy that Wichita is the first on this tour to celebrate this artist. So with that, the next thing we'll talk about is performing arts. Our Wichita or symphony event is coming up, and I'd like to invite Miss Carol Thole from the Wichita Symphony to discuss an event that we are planning to host at NAFSCR Park this weekend.
Good morning. My name is Carter Thal, and I'm the manager of marketing and communications for the Wichita Symphony. I'm going to spell my name for you. First name Carter, C-A-R-T-E-R. Last name Thal, T as in Tom, H-O-L-L. And this morning I'd like to talk a little bit about a performance from the Wichita Symphony coming up tomorrow night, Friday, September 24th at NAFSCR Park. This will be the latest installment of a series called Playing in the Park, which has been a joint collaboration between the Wichita Symphony and Wichita Park and Recreation. This will be presented at NAFSCR Park tomorrow night at 6:30, and we'll have two groups performing made up of musicians from the Wichita Symphony. First, there will be a performance from the Lawrence Woodwind Quintet, who will perform about a 25-minute set from the Evergy Pavilion stage, followed by a performance by the Wichita Brass Quintet, also performing about a 25-minute program. It is free and open to the public. We encourage concert attendees to bring a lawn chair or blanket for picnic-style seating on the lawn. I wanted to just share a quote from Manager of Education and Community Partnerships, Tiffany Bell Rhodes, who says of this collaboration, "The City of Wichita Park and Recreation Department has been a wonderful partner to us in presenting these free concerts in our community. It is a joy to bring the WSO to the stage at this beautiful public park and to see all the smiling faces of concert goers who get to enjoy both the music and the outdoors with their families." So once more, I'll just repeat the concert information. It's Friday, September 24th at 6:30 p.m. at NAFSCR Park at the Evergy Pavilion. I also want to note that this collaboration, this concert, is sponsored by our presenting sponsors, the Koch Family Foundation and the NAFSCR Fund for Fine Arts. And I want to also note that the Wichita Symphony receives operational support from the City of Wichita. So thank you so much for having me this morning.
And thank you so much for hosting such a great event. If folks haven't been out to one of these events over at NAFSCR Park, we really encourage it. The weather's perfect for this. As someone with little kids who need to run around, going to an event like this while allowing the kids to run around is enough space for that. It's really a great asset here at our city. We encourage people to step out and check it out on their own. So with that, we have just a brief update about the Chester Lewis statue. So keeping in our discussion about arts, we wanted to highlight the upcoming move of the Georgia Gerbil bronze lunch counter sculpture at the Chester I. Lewis Reflection Square Park. So with that, the move of the statue will take place early in the morning of Wednesday, September 29th. It's about right around 8 a.m. is when we expect that to go. And media is invited to come and watch the move of the statue. It will be placed into storage until we announce an exciting new location for that statue later this year as the Chester Lewis Reflection Square Park continues to develop. So with that, we will keep you updated towards any changes as we get closer with that project. Last, we're going to talk about the wind surge. Really exciting considering the year we had back in 2020 where we didn't have any baseball season at all. Fast forward to this year, after a shakeup with minor league baseball, we were lucky to not only keep a team, but really have one of the best stadiums in AA baseball. And we just want to get an update from the team and celebrate the year that we've had so far, in which our Wind Surge baseball team is going to the playoffs. So with that, I'd like to invite Katie up here to give us a more thorough update about Wind Surge and really what's going on.
Thanks for having us. It's been a great inaugural season for the Wichita Wind Surge. We've finished with the best record in the AA Central and made it to the championship series. Currently, we're in the championship series against the Northwest Arkansas Naturals, 5-game series, and it's coming to Wichita tomorrow night for Game 3. So tomorrow night, Game 3 will be at 7:05 first pitch. Gates open at 5:30 with post-game fireworks. The playoffs are presented by Bank of America and Coleman, with post-game fireworks tomorrow by Coleman. And with a Wind Surge win, Game 4 would be Saturday, also at 7:05, also with post-game fireworks. So we are very excited to, in our inaugural season, have playoff baseball, and tomorrow night to have the first ever playoff game at Riverfront Stadium.
And thank you so much for the update. Last thing we're going to talk about is an exciting piece of news, and that is we are updating our website to help folks interact with the city. So as we begin the redesign process, we want to know how residents normally interact with the wichita.gov website, and ask that they can help us provide feedback so we can better that experience with a short survey that will be also on that same website. So if you get a moment, please go to wichita.gov. Please take the survey so that we can be responsive as we make the updates to our website, so it's better, provides a better user experience. So with that, I just want to thank everyone for being here. My job is to highlight some of the great stuff we're doing in Wichita and really brag about the city. And because we have incredible people in our community, like the ones who just presented, it makes that job a lot easier. We got a lot of really great stuff coming up and a lot of things to be excited about. So with that, I'll open up to questions. Of course, we have folks here who can answer questions more specific to their area, but if there's any other generalized questions for the city, I'm happy to speak about anything.
I have two questions.
Yes, ma'am.
One would be on the street racing ordinance. Can you talk about what it would mean for the city of Wichita to have this ordinance revamped?
Yeah, so what we have discovered is that the current ordinance, when it came to street racing, really if you wanted to stop street racing and charge people for really street racing, we've had 3 people die that we know of last year for street racing, and then other people die where we suspect street racing might have been a part of that. We can only charge them with reckless driving. So reckless driving is much more of a wider charge, which means that we lack the consistency when it comes to being able to enforce laws or people who are driving, racing each other on the street. It's harder for our justice system to really be consistent with the enforcement and trying to prevent that type of behavior that is dangerous. So what happened was our police officers went out and actually did the research on what cities have the best ordinances to combat street racing, and we took the best parts from different cities and their ordinances and made a Wichita ordinance with it, and we're able to pass it last Tuesday. Again, another example is if you are street racing, let's say you're doing wheelies in a Walmart parking lot and racing from one end to another, our old ordinance, which was about reckless driving is what we could charge you, we actually can't enforce that on private property. So if you were racing in Walmart's parking lot and causing a dangerous situation, our officers couldn't really charge you for street racing. This new ordinance does allow us to actually charge people who are street racing with the crime of street racing. So it's a big update, and it came because we were seeing a spike in folks who are street racing and deaths because of this. Some of that's driven by social media, sadly, is young people who might be trying to create a video for TikTok or a video for social media, might be doing something that is a little more reckless, and we want to be able to combat those behaviors before any more people have to die.
Right.
And the second question.
Second question is about baseball. I think it's huge news and congratulations for the city. Besides the entertainment factor, the economic factor, can you talk about what this means for the city coming out of the pandemic, having these games?
Yeah, this is a really, although it seems kind of by chance, it was also a huge benefit to come out of the pandemic where we have a new and exciting baseball stadium that is open air. So we're, this is not only something I think folks can be excited about, could go out and have a great time at our state-of-the-art world-class baseball stadium, but it's safer because it is open air, so it is a safer environment. And we are not only seeing folks coming out and participating in baseball itself. I'm someone who also enjoys the game, even though I really was never a big baseball fan growing up, but I like getting out to the stadium because it's an incredible atmosphere. But we're hearing also from businesses in those areas about an uptick in customers eating out, customers in that area buying and stimulating that local economy. And then also we're seeing more development around the baseball stadium where there's more investment going into that downtown area and into our core, which has a economic ripple effect that we want to see in a city like ours that is growing, because the more economic opportunities we have, really the more opportunities Kansans have and Wichitans have. So we are seeing that as well. We hope to really see more as the pandemic begins to settle down. Yes.
I've got some questions. I guess to start out with, I guess the air quality is kind of high today, I guess.
So Megan monitors the air quality every 20 minutes. Megan, do you have an air quality update?
I do. So our air quality index is 124 AQI, air quality index, as of 8 a.m. this morning. We do believe that is caused by the Oklahoma surface fires. And as always, we encourage those in sensitive populations to stay indoors, limit strenuous activities, and wait until our air quality goes back up to go outdoors to exercise, walk the dog, what have you.
Is there anything that the public can do, maybe, make it a little bit safer?
When we see our air quality dip because of surface fires, there's really nothing that we can do as the public to abate the impact from the surface fires. However, we always encourage taking common sense steps to help impact our air quality locally. We have a website, beairwareks.org, where you can go and see some just steps that you can take to help our local air quality.
And I know you came up here, obviously you're wearing your mask. Obviously, that's a good thing to wear a day like today for some people.
Usually the particulate matter that we see is so small that wearing a mask won't impact it that much. So, all right, thank you.
So can you talk any about the boosters getting closer and any idea how they'll handle that here and your thoughts on that?
Yeah, definitely. First, I'm still just kind of surprised Megan does such a better job with an air quality answer than I would have done. So, but boosters, when it comes to COVID, I feel like I can handle that question. We just saw, I think it was the FDA or the CDC, they both have been exploring this over the last couple of days, and I believe the recommendation has been for folks who have received the Pfizer shot, if you're 65 and above, or you're immune compromised, or you are someone who, let's say your position at work puts you at higher risk, they are recommending a third booster shot for those folks. Now, that doesn't mean if you're Moderna or if you're Johnson & Johnson, you need a booster shot at this time. They're still reviewing the data. When it comes to rollout of that, the City of Wichita is working with our friends over at the County Health Department to ensure that we can provide the best experience possible for folks who are going to either get their booster shot or so we still have some folks who are getting their initial shot who kind of sat on the sidelines a little bit to see how the vaccines played out. Of course, the vaccines are really one of the closest things to a miracle I think I've seen in my lifetime. They just are knocked it out of the park when it came to the baseball reference, right? When it came to not only keeping people safe and healthy, but also with attacking the virus. They're over 90% effective in keeping you out of the hospital and safe. So we will keep our ear to the ground on any needs that the county health department might have, but I am proud of the work that we have done here in the Wichita community to not only provide the original vaccines for folks, but also to provide an experience where folks actually leave feeling relaxed, feeling good about that experience by utilizing our old library building that really didn't have much use until this.
Do you think that could possibly be where we go back again?
Likely, but again, my job is to not tell people what to do, but ask them what they need. So, I think that it has been mostly utilizing that old library space has been an incredible way for us to administer these vaccines. I think that, frankly, we're one of the few cities I see where people actually tweet about good experiences getting a shot. A lot of other places don't have the same type of resources and space we do at the city, or might not have the same collaborative relationship we have with the county commission. So with that said, if they need to utilize that space still, I think that we would be happy to partner with them. However, if the health department comes back and says that we could deliver the service better by doing something else, then we're here to make the adjustments as needed.
Final question. Once again, this week we had youth crime in the news. Your thoughts? I mean, obviously, there's a need for mentors out there.
Yeah, definitely. We have, and it's an ongoing, there's no knee-jerk reaction or knee-jerk policy that we can just implement and solve youth crime. It's rising throughout the entire country. It's really, I think, a combination of factors, and some of those factors are folks not being able, who are younger, not being able to be around the mentors that they normally could be if we were, fully open, if we were actually able to maintain a downward spiral of the virus that we have maintained instead of spiked back up again. So we need to, I think, really focus not just on preventative measures to make sure that people are locking their guns up and not having their guns get stolen so that they fall into the hands of people who shouldn't have those guns, but also, particularly with young people, that mentoring, the ability to actually be around responsible adults and be around people who could have a positive influence. When we see a spike because I believe of COVID. I think it's also because of a lack of that social interaction that folks used to be able to get, and some of those folks wind up making really terrible decisions that impact not only their lives but lives of others.
One more question, Mayor.
I'm here all day.
The Department of Education, the Kansas State Department of Education, confirmed the death of a middle school student due to COVID. Just wanting to know your reaction, and are you afraid that would become a new trend in the upcoming months, that we see more younger people losing the battle to COVID?
So I heard about the news of a young student, middle school student, who just passed away here in Kansas of COVID yesterday. And frankly, my reaction to it is this isn't a game. This isn't a political game where you can make political statements that aren't medically sound and then it results in the death of our children. So I would encourage folks to not look towards the national media or what's happening over here or over there. Let's look to what's happening in our backyard. I don't know where this student came from. He could have came from Wichita. This could have been someone who lived down the street from me or lives down the street from you. And the reality is, one child lost over a disease that's preventable is too many. And we need to be doing a better job of actually fighting COVID and stop fighting each other and making medical statements about medical policy, about a public health pandemic, instead of trying to score political points to put people in their place, either on Facebook or wherever else we're seeing this information. So I want to get back to fighting COVID and making the schools safer for our children, not just because I have 3 children in school, but also because I don't want to see any of our neighbors lose a child. I don't know what I would do if that happened to me. I don't know what these parents are going through. I can't relate to that, but I know it's not good, and this is preventable, and we need to be doing what we can as adults to take the actions to protect our children, and also we need to make sure that we're getting that information out there that helps others protect their families and their children so they can make the right decisions.
I have a question for Wendy if she's ready to answer. I'm sorry, Katie, I'm sorry.
Bring them all up. No.
So, do you have any statistics that talk about attendance this year and how it's been?
So I don't have statistics in front of me, but I know we've had great attendance this year. We've been really happy with the support for the community. Tickets went on sale for our playoff game on Saturday morning, and we sold over 1,000 tickets in the first hour. So we were really thrilled with that, and it's been growing all week. So we're excited for the energy in the ballpark tomorrow night for the first playoff game at Riverfront Stadium. And overall, this was a year that we just had no idea what to expect. We didn't know if we'd get a whole season in. We didn't know if people were going to be comfortable coming out. And so to have the support of the community and to have so many people come celebrate at the ballpark has been fantastic.
You don't have an average night attendance?
I don't. I'd be guessing. I can get it for you here in just a minute, but I don't have it on me.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Yeah?
Are there still tickets available?
There are still tickets available for the playoff games this weekend. They're available starting at $10, and they're at windsurge.com.
We encourage folks to get out and cheer our team on. You know, it would be really great if we won a championship on that first year. But we appreciate where they're at, even if they don't win. They've done a great job. All right, other questions? KSN, nothing. KWCH, nothing.
They asked all of my questions.
They did that. Yeah, I know. They're.
Was there anything we didn't ask that you want to talk about today?
Oh, don't ask me that. I'll jump into all sorts of stuff. Megan's shaking her head no.
You want to talk any bit more about Century 2 going private?
I mean, really, we hope the best when it comes to the privatization of the services for Century 2. I differed from the council on my vote, my perspective. So I want to be a little more neutral when it comes to what we might see moving forward. I wish that we had more public input. However, as we make changes, we would still need that public input to ensure that there is no, I guess, downgrade of services or expectations. So we encourage people to still reach out to their council members and to myself with concerns with this, as really the delivery of services with that facility is going to change. All right. Cool. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.